Welcome back, pilots. In my last video, I introduced my new glider, a JS3 RES. Now I'm going to share with you one of my best flights from this spring, flying out of Williams, California. Even though this glider has a motor, I've chosen to take a tow today. Williams is in the Sacramento Valley, and it's pretty far from where the good thermals are going to be today. If I use my motor to get to the mountains, I would use pretty much all of my battery to get there. And I'd rather save some power to get back if I need it. When I get to the mountains, I release the tow rope and head for the nearest cloud.
Let us have an up there.
My plan today is to go north along the Mendocino Mountains to the Oregon border. It's a straight line distance of about 200 miles from Williams, or 320 kilometers. I've never made it to Oregon from Williams before, but it's been a goal of mine for quite some time. Today may not be the best day to attempt this flight. Cloud bases are forecast to be only 9,000 to 10,000 feet, which isn't much above the tops of the mountains. But my new glider has an electric motor, and I've got a fully charged battery, so I'll have some help getting home if I need it. This is one of the beauties of having a motor glider. It makes me more willing to attempt flights that may not be possible, because I know I'm still likely to get home because I can use the motor. However, the energy in the batteries is finite. I won't be able to motor all the way home from the Oregon border, so I need to make sure that I'm always a motor run away from guaranteed lift. I also have to make sure I always have a safe landing in range. Even electric motors can fail, and if it does, I need to have a safe place to land. Tango Golf launched just before me from Williams, so I check in with him to see how the conditions are to the north.
507 Snow Mountain, 8,500. Tango Golf, how's it going?
Going well. I am west of Alder Springs at 9,300.
He's at 9,300 feet, which is higher than I am right now, so it sounds like there's lift to be had, despite the fact that the clouds are kind of sparse right now. The next good-looking clouds are pretty far to the north, so I'm going to do what we call tiptoeing. I'm going to fly slow and take every little scrap of lift I can find to ensure that I can make it across this big cloudless gap to the north. I scratch 200 feet out of this little cloud and move on to the next one. If I were flying my LS6 right now, I would be very intimidated crossing this big blue gap. When you fly a certain glider for a while, you develop an eye for how far you can glide and at what downward angle. Since I haven't been flying the JS3 for very long, my eye is still calibrated to the LS6. And my eyes are telling me that I'm not going to make it to those next clouds. I'm starting to sweat a little bit. If I don't make it to those clouds without running into the terrain, I'm going to have to turn around and come back to the nearest airstrip. My computer says I'll make it, but it's hard to believe the computer when your eyes are telling you something different. As I get closer to this next set of clouds, I can hardly believe how little altitude I've lost. I'm closer to the clouds than I am to the terrain. Man, this thing can glide. Clearly my eyeballs need to be recalibrated for the JS3. This cloud looks pretty good, so I'm expecting a good climb here. When I hit the lift, which way should I turn? That's always the big question in thermal entry.
Wing rose.
The right wing rose slightly just as I hit the good lift, so I turn right.
I mean the right wing.
Looks like I turned the wrong way. That trick doesn't always work, but I do feel like it gives you a better than 50% chance of turning the right way, so it's better than flipping a coin.
Turn the wrong way. Over here. Yep, this is where it is. Solid 8 knots instantaneous.
This thermal was as strong as 8 knots at times, but top to bottom only averaged 3 because it took a while to center. I continue making my way north along the Mendos. The convergence is really cooking now. I'm making 296 to 1 on this glide.
Instead of going straight that way, looks like the convergence is going this way to yellow and then that way. Probably lose less altitude going this way.
I reached the northern end of the Mendocino Range and turned northeast toward Buckhorn. I haven't had to make any big decisions for a while. I've just been following the clouds, and so far they've led in only one direction. But soon I come to a bit of a fork in the road. I can take the more northerly route towards the Trinity Alps, or I can continue northeast towards Mount Shasta. The clouds look nice over the Trinity Alps, and it's really beautiful up there. But I ultimately decide against it because the terrain is higher there, and there are fewer places to land. I've been making great time on this cloud street, even though I've chosen a fairly conservative McCready 2 cruise speed. There's so little room between the mountaintops and cloud base that one little mistake could flush me out into the valley where there's no lift, and I'd have to start my motor. Now I'm going to transition into the Siskiyou Mountains by cutting between Trinity Lake and Shasta Reservoir. I pull into a nice 8.5 knot thermal abeam Trinity Lake, and Tango Golf comes to join me.
Very nice. 9 knots.
Now I'm approaching Mount Eddy at 12 o'clock and Mount Shasta at 1 o'clock with the snow on it. The terrain is rising while the cloud base is still at only about 9,000 feet. I get Dunsmuir Airport in range just before I lose comfortable glide to Trinity Center. This is an uncomfortable moment, and I've only been over this terrain once, which happened to be yesterday when I went to Mount Shasta for the first time. Like I said before, I always keep a safe landing in range, even though I have a motor. Smart glider pilots don't rely on the motor to save their lives. There have been many accidents in the past where glider pilots tried to use the motor to get them out of trouble, and it didn't work. I'm now at a major decision point. My goal is to get to the Oregon border, and the shortest path to get there is straight north from here. I'm looking north now with Mount Eddy on the right. I can see some clouds to the north, but they're sparse and the cloud bases look lower than they are here. My other option is to go east towards Mount Shasta, then northeast from there. I can kind of see some clouds over there, but it's hard to see and I can't tell if they go all the way to the border. I take a short climb and weigh the decision as I fly over Mount Eddy. I decide to go with the devil I know instead of the devil I don't. The path to the north looks doable, but not easy. Immediately, a challenge presents itself. I need to get over China Mountain, which is dead ahead, but my eyes are telling me I'm not going to make it. But by now I've learned that my eyes have been wrong all day. There's a saddle to the left of the mountain, and I might be able to squeeze through there. If it's not looking good when I get close, I can turn right and fly down the valley to Weed. Yes, there's a town named Weed in California. Once again, the flat glide angle of the JS3 impresses me, as I easily make it past the mountain. On the other side are some small clouds, and I'm hungry for a climb. It's only 3.5 knots, but it'll do. I'm eager to get some space between me and the terrain. The next cloud is the last one before I have to cross another blue gap. I'm all alone out here now. Tango Golf took the path to the east, around Mount Shasta. I'm starting to wonder if I've made a mistake by going this way. Those next clouds look pretty far away. Am I going to make it there? By now you can probably guess the answer. My confidence in the JS3 is growing. I'm starting to make better estimations of how far I can glide. Flying between high terrain and low clouds really makes the performance visible, in a way that my high-altitude wave flights last winter didn't. I find a 5-knot thermal under this cloud and take it up 1,100 feet. I have to cross another large gap, but the JS3 just eats it up. The Oregon border is in sight now. If I can just get a climb at these next clouds, I'm going to make it there. The landing options are few in this area. I've only got 1 or 2 dirt strips in range. But I have no doubt that I'm going to find a climb under these next clouds. They look great. I do a time check. It's only 11:40 a.m. I'm going to reach Oregon before noon. As I get under the clouds, I run into a boomer.
Right, wing came up. Yeah. 7.1, 7.6.
I climb 1,100 feet at 7.7 knots. I'm about to cross the Oregon border now. It's somewhere down there. Hello, Oregon. I'm not ready to turn around yet, though. I want to make it to Mount Ashland and check out that radar dome on top of it. The return south to Mount Eddy is largely the same, with the JS3 leaping large gaps in a single bound. As I pass Mount Eddy going south, I see a nice street going east toward Mount Shasta, and I decide to pay it a visit. Dunsmuir Airport is right below me, and it'll be easy to keep it in range while I visit Mount Shasta. Shasta is a stratovolcano with a perfect conical shape and a sharp snow-capped peak. It's quite majestic, and it's a real treat to see it up close without too many clouds obscuring the peak. We've got a long way to go to get back to Williams, so we better stop sightseeing and get to it. We've got great looking cloud streets ahead of us, so we should be making good time. We're on our way back toward Trinity Lake, retracing the path we took before. We're following what looks like a great cloud street, but we're slowly losing altitude, and I'd like to get back up to cloud base because of the high terrain around here. I start looking for a climb. I'm finding that a lot of these clouds that look great don't have any lift under them. I resolve to take the next thermal no matter how weak it is. This one is averaging 3.8 knots, but it gives me some breathing room to go search for a stronger one, which I soon find.
13 knots of wind from the west. That's not helping.
I'm flying into a 13-knot headwind, which explains why things are getting a bit tougher now. I'm able to maintain my altitude under this cloud street, but I'm coming up on an area that has some blue gaps, and when I get there I start rapidly losing altitude. This cloud ahead looks great, but as soon as I get there it starts dissipating. This is the lowest I've been since I got off tow. If these clouds don't work, I'm going to have to divert to Weaverville and start my motor. Fortunately, they are working, and I climb almost 3,000 feet at an average of 4.9 knots. The lift starts to die as I reach cloud base, so I roll out on course. That was a close one, but I'm back in business now. I'm making the transition back to the Mendocinos now, where there's a smoke and convergence line running all the way home. This 150-kilometer leg is the fastest of the flight. That's 93 miles at 81 miles per hour. Enjoy this long hyperlapse, and I'll see you on the other side. What a ride that was. I've got final glide to Williams, so it's time to leave the mountains and return to the valley. This flight really opened my eyes to the performance of the JS3 RES, and I was blown away. If you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate it if you drop a like on it, and subscribe if you want to see more. I'm just starting to stretch my legs with this glider, and I've got some epic flights in the pipeline coming to you. By the way, sorry it's been so long since I put out a video. Life's been really busy, and I've been doing a lot of flying too. But I've got a ton of footage, so I'll be working through that over the fall and winter. So don't worry, there's a lot more to come. Thanks for watching. See you next time.